Hey, Betterness Bays! Welcome to the Good, Better, Betterness podcast. Heads up, this episode takes us back a few months and was recorded on a previous edition of Wellness Wednesday.
What we explored and uncovered then is still true now, and we hope that this lands as a reminder that you matter first and always, full stop. Thank you for making space for us, and more importantly, for yourself.
My name is Denise, and down there is Kayla, my co-founder. We are the co-founders of Betterness Box, and today, like I said, we're going to be talking about what it takes to kind of do a mindset shift, right? Or to check yourself and understand, like, where is my mind? Am I ready to kind of make the change that I am looking to make in life? Kayla, anything you want to add to kind of the preface before we start in on this Wellness Wednesday chat?
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
There you go.
That's about it. Is what you said. Got me thinking. I think as we spoke earlier today, Denise, it's like, what does it take to transition into this next season and lay the foundation for really achieving the goals that we aspire to achieve, especially in this next season that we're headed into called We Are Wealthy. So, no, I think we can get straight into it.
All right, so I kind of broke this conversation into 3 little buckets, and we can kind of riff off of each bucket, but each one basically starts with a question. And so as we're kind of working through this, Kayla and I will talk, we'll share, tips or just frameworks and mindsets of how we've maybe handled different phases of life. And then if, anybody in the chat would like to just jot this down and maybe kind of use this as a working session for yourself, by all means, please do that. Share, comments, feedback with us in the chat. But while we're getting started, if you are here in the room, go ahead and drop either a 1 or a 5 in the chat so we know and just get a general sentiment of how the room is feeling. 1 being not so good, tomorrow, couldn't come sooner. Or 5 being today is great and I'm feeling pretty good out here today. So just let us know. We always like to just get a general census of how the room is feeling when we start these conversations. Kayla, do you want to go ahead and tell us where are you on the spectrum of 1 to 5 today?
Oops, that is not what I meant to write.
4.38 is what I'm going to assume that she was trying to say. 3.8. Okay.
3.8.
Yeah, it was the 43.8. I was like, girl, you must have won the lotto today if you will. 43.8.
That's off the scale. That's not what I was trying to put in there. I am excited because I have a procedure scheduled for tomorrow that will hopefully help my body. I've been dealing with some digestive things. If you've been watching these lives, you probably know because I've mentioned it a couple times. And so I'm excited about that. But ready to go into the weekend. I really wish that today was Thursday, but it's not. So I'm just going to go with what we have.
I feel like the time is just, the time and the days are just ticking and flying right on by, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it did feel like it was Thursday. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this conversation because I think, as we mentioned, and as we'll continue to talk through in this next season, this mindset shift is the core of what it will mean to truly make impact. And so I'm looking forward to the discussion and seeing how you all out there kind of look at money and wealth building and the mindset it takes to do that. And so please share and be ready to be vulnerable in this next season. If you're going to tune in to our programming, our Wellness Wednesdays every other Wednesday, our sister circles that we'll have. There's so much coming that I want everyone to be a part of, but know that this is a safe space. This is the safe space for you and whatever your story is, because we all have one, let me tell you. We do.
That is true. So
what was your
thank you for sharing that number. 3.8 is probably feels right.
Yeah.
Feels right about right. Yeah.
Twins.
Yeah. Got a lot more to do once this call gets in. So it could, we could end on a 4.2 if I'm able to knock out a couple more things off the to-do list. Yeah. So cool. Let's go ahead and get jumping into this conversation. So if you're just joining us, I see my special in the comments there. A longtime supporter of Betterness Box. If you are just joining us, we are talking about life planning, mindset shift, mindset needed to go from areas of kind of manifestation and rest and restoration, which is the season that we've been in. And then how do you actually take action on that? What is the mindset that's needed? What are some different frameworks that we personally use to be able to kind of like navigate just different things that we've tried to tackle in life, right? So I really want to kind of start this conversation with just like, where are you going, right? So I think the first piece of all of this, right? And this is a lot of the work that might have been done with your planner or with your gather book, right? Of just understanding and collecting and resetting and things of that sort. And really determining like, okay, where do I actually want to go? What do I want to achieve? That to me is really kind of like step one of all of this, right? And that is really what the Restore season was about. It was about disconnecting, resting, taking naps, and then manifesting from a place of rest and restoration, so that you're not kind of layering on to exhausted and tired mentality that maybe you're carrying in from 2022, right? Yep. And it's crazy to think that we're already in March. But if you think about, using those first 2 months of the year instead of trying to rush and, say I'm going to create a resolution in the first week, it gives you a little bit more time to actually digest, and then you can actually kind of put a plan of action in play as you kind of go into the rest of the year. So that's what I want to start with. Kayla, is there anything that sparks for you personally?
Yeah, I think I went live. I think it was with Taryn. And if you all are looking to watch it, it's on our page, on the Betterness Box page. But I talked about like going into the new year, having all of these plans to really dive into restoration and feeling like I wasn't able to do that, right? And to restore and rest. It felt like the end of last year, which was pretty hectic and a lot going on. And so it was really a wake-up call to say, okay, what do I want this next season to look like? Or what do I want today going forward to look like, right? You don't have to plan something to say, okay, well, next month I'll do whatever. You can do that today. You can start a small habit today. And so for me, it was just the mindset shift of what we're about to talk about is like being present in the fact that you can make a decision to change how you think about something today. This isn't something you can say, okay, next week, next month, next year. You can actually start moving towards your goals in that way now. And so that struck a chord, just the being present part, right? And so, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Gotcha. I think I will actually share, just in terms of being present, right? So I have a kind of framework, and I personally have operated from this mindset. And then I also have shared it with probably more close-knit like family members who are entering into their 20s, right? So I have a mindset, or I have a idea that society essentially tells you what you're doing for every 2 to 4 years, your entire life until you're about 22 to 24, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think about it, you're in school, you're in some level of school, and those are kind of chunked in 2 to 4 year periods of time. And then after you graduate from college, really like, it's just like life, right? And it's this big blob of the rest of your life, right? 20, 40 years, whatever that's going to end up being, right? But I've kind of always rooted in the mindset of, if you're already conditioned to operate under kind of like short time frames, or you just said it earlier, like small, tiny habits, right? But already conditioned to operate like that. That's actually where I found that I was going to like be able to succeed the best, right? And so what I've done to kind of like understand and navigate where I'm going is I think of that in like 2 to 4 year chunks of time versus trying to say like, what do I want to be in life? Or what do I want to do with life, or whatever? It's like, be present. And then from here to 2 to 4 years, that's a little bit more for me, like realistic in terms of like time frames that you can actually think through and act upon, right? Because sometimes a year is too short. right? Like sometimes you're like, I'm trying to do all these different things. And if I'm trying to think of like accomplishing it all in a year, that alone can actually be overwhelming, right? And you can kind of just disable yourself in that overwhelm a little bit sometimes when you're trying to do too much with too little time.
Right.
And so that kind of like, I call it a small victory lifestyle, where basically I'm understanding what my small victories that I'm working towards are in this 2 to 4 year time frame, which gives me a little bit of wiggle room in terms of like, how much time is it actually going to take to achieve this, right? What am I trying to achieve? Maybe there's 2 things that I'm trying to achieve in 2 to 4 years. But not trying to be unrealistic in the fact that like everything that I'm trying to do in life can be done in 1 year, 6 months, 1 month, right? You're instantly kind of setting yourself up for failure when you start to do that, because although the internet will have you believe that everybody is going to be an overnight success, we already know like that's just not realistic, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where, like, when I think about where I'm going, we can share personally if we want to actually get to that level, but I really want to kind of just like share my mindset of how I start to determine the different buckets of what I want to achieve. And it really isn't that, it's with that small victory mindset of like 2 to 4 year periods of time, because we've already been conditioned to think like that all the way up until our mid 20s, right? And nobody teaches us this. Nobody teaches you. They just say like, go live life and figure it out, right? And then if you don't figure it out by like 30, people are like, okay, what's such and such? What's going on? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there's not really that guidance of like, oh, I've been trained to like be working at things in like small chunks of time. So like, why not just continue to kind of operate my lifestyle in that way?
Yep. No, I completely agree. In fact, people may think this is deep, but it is deep. I think that white supremacy is just permeated across everything, right? When it comes to how Black people exist, especially here in America, but the world. And when it comes to kind of how, our history, especially in this country, is about achievement and the relationship Black women have had with like this idea of achievement, right? The idea to work hard and the idea to kind of hold your family up, to be the superwoman, to be the person everyone can rely on. And more so just, again, that achievement. You can be addicted to that. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the times we wear it as a cape that's literally an anchor, right? Or we wear it and don't realize it's literally sinking us. And, knowing where it came from, like I said, systematic racism, white supremacy, then knowing that even in our own communities, we perpetuate that, right? That idea that we have to achieve, and we have to do it on a certain timeline, and it has to be done a certain way, in a certain order, for certain people, right? And it's all things that are like outside of us instead of like who we are, and just discovering who we are and what does achievement look like for us and what's realistic on our bodies, right? Not the 40-hour work week, where we have literally no time for discovery and creation and creativity. But it's this idea, I think, as Black women, that I want us to realize, especially in this next season, that achievement is not something that we should be addicted to or strive for constantly, in the traditional way, right? The traditional way that we describe achievement. And so, yeah, looking at achievement as, and I love this new, thing going around, celebrate your wins, right? Those small victories, celebrate your wins. But what does that really mean? And are we, again, perpetuating what we've been taught through society, what a win is? Or is a win eating breakfast every day? Is a win...
Right, because I am failing at that right now. I was like, right. I'm going to take that next week. That's going to be my small victory for next talking about. Oh, wait.
I love that. I love the idea that we are starting to talk about it, but let's just redefine what wins are in our community, especially as Black women, and take off this cape that's literally sinking us into 6 feet under, literally 6 feet under, like it's killing us. And so, yeah, when I think of small victories, I'm like, oh, that's a new concept, even though it sounds like something we we adhere to. It really isn't. And we have to kind of be real with ourselves on what that looks like. So I love it. Small victories for sure, all 2023.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we, like I said, society operates off of these small victories, but it's not ever like blatantly stated. And so you don't necessarily think about that when you are now responsible for determining your own path, right? I think Miss Jolene Cook actually said something in here that why kind of leads right into our next segment. So she said, being in a perpetual state of stress, I'm doing less as a promise to myself. I celebrate the small wins because speeding myself is often a daily challenge, right? So that's exactly what we're talking about. And I think she talks about doing less, right? The next question that I have here in the next section is basically like, what are you carrying? And I think that for me, like after I figure out where I'm going, right? If I'm planning a trip, I didn't even think about it before, but like that's the perfect analogy. If I'm planning a trip, I gotta figure out where I'm going. Where am I going first, right? And then I look like, how long am I going for? Is it 2 to 4 weeks, 2 to 4 months, 4 years, right? And then what are you carrying, right? So like, are you carrying stress with you? Are you carrying a bad eating habits with you? Are you carrying a lack of sleep and tired and all these different things with you, right? And so the next kind of like framework, there's actually 2 buckets that kind of fit into this. And I'll go with the first one because, you know, Ms. Jolene Cook actually mentioned just relieving yourself of stress, right? So another framework that I've personally used, and I think I actually took this as a motto for an entire year. And every time I said it, people would say, oh, wait, what? What does that mean exactly? So I was dealing with some stress, some anxiety, it was just all types of things, right? It was all types of things that I was carrying with me. And my body was like, and my mind was like, look, you're not operating at your best because you're trying to do too much and you have too many responsibilities. And so I came up with this framework, and I literally was just saying, I am proactively eliminating responsibility, right? And what does that mean? It means like, for me, I became very definitive in my yeses and very definitive in my nos, right? If I told somebody, no, sorry, can't do it, not today, whatever the situation, whatever the saying was back then in 2017, I was proactively eliminating responsibility. When I said no, you may have been thinking about it, but guess who was not thinking about it? Me. And I literally got to a place where I just knew that like other people's responsibility, my responsibility, all the responsibility of work, the responsibility of trying to be entrepreneur, responsibility of I was doing photography and the photo. It was like multiple different things at that time that were causing all of these different inputs from other places, to where I literally came up with this motto of like, I am proactively eliminating responsibility. And literally every time somebody asked me, I don't care if you were asking me to go to brunch on a Sunday, and you know I like a Sunday fun day. I don't care if you were asking me to go, you know, take the trash out right now instead of tomorrow. Like whatever it was, I intentionally thought about it from that lens of like, do I need to proactively eliminate this responsibility? And I was doing it from a place of selfishness really as well, right? Because I was doing it to protect my own sanity and myself. So that I wanted to share that. I'll let you kind of respond to that. And then there's another framework that I kind of operate under when it comes to like, what are you carrying? And it actually kind of ties to the bag lady travel theme as well a little bit.
Yeah. I think one thing that happens, especially again with Black women, because we're so used to holding everything and everyone, we don't even realize what we're carrying. And so that to me is one of the first things that I hope in the We Are Restored season, that Black women were able to sit still and get clarity on that, on what it is that they're carrying, what's on their plate that maybe should not be there, how they can proactively eliminate it, right? One of the things and ways that we do that here at Betterness Box, and we are big advocates for, is therapy, right? Because it's someone outside of us able to see, right, all the things. Sometimes asking your husband, your boyfriend, your mom, your sister, your girlfriend, they're all maybe doing the same things you are, or they may have a need that you're fulfilling. And so it's harder for them to say, well, you should probably not be doing that, or you should probably eliminate this. But if you go to a third party, right, that's trusted and licensed, someone who can really truly help you figure out like what is it that you're truly carrying that is not tangible per se, right? That you're carrying that you may not even see, these responsibilities, what's taking up your time, the energy you're carrying, right? Just listening to friends vent maybe all the time. Like it could be so many other things, but we have to be real about what is it that we're carrying. And a lot of times we won't discover that unless we have a third party or someone to help us discover that, walking us through with that. And so it's no secret. I've been saying it a long time because I've been going a long time, but I go every Monday at 3 p.m. To my therapist. We've had her here on Wellness Wednesdays a couple of times, and she's so good about helping me put things into categories, right? What's urgent and important, what's not so urgent, but also still important, right? Like to really proactively start to take some of those off. And I honestly feel like I need to do an audit like that once a year, because sometimes I take one off and then I'll put something back on. But having the accountability to do that, and I will talk about accountability later, has really helped. But just the discovery of what you're carrying, I think, is super important. If there's things that y'all are carrying that maybe if you take a minute to think of that maybe didn't even come up in your mind before, share with us and let us know what it is that you're carrying that you might need to proactively eliminate, as Denise so eloquently said. I remember that year, Sam. I remember when you said it, and I was like, I don't know what is happening, but I know we got a business to run. So what responsibilities does she, like, what does
She needs to let go. Well, I think it's a couple of things, right? Because this is the thing. You said sometimes you can't ask the people closest to you because, like, you might have been giving me extra responsibility, right? So I can't ask you of that. I was the only person in that moment that could actually determine what I could carry and what I couldn't carry, right? Sure. And I can't ask you because it's almost a conflict of interest, right? And as my business partner to be like, hey, Kayla, what do you think I'm stressed out about today? You're going to be like, those 7 emails that I sent you? Like, no, you're not going to do that. You know what I mean? So there's that piece of it. But then the other piece, you said something and it came to mind as well. Oh, the eliminating, right? So when you think about eliminating something, it's to get rid of, right? Getting rid of it. What I think that we tend to do, we don't do that. We replace.
Agree.
So I'm not proactively replacing responsibilities. No, I am eliminating responsibility, right? Like that means I am not just being like, okay, well, I can't go do this, but then I still fill that space with something else. I filled that space with my own mental sanity, like clarity, peacetime, whatever was going to be called, right?
Yeah.
But I think that that's another like thing that we don't realize that we're doing, and we do it all the time, right? We're like, we're not eliminating things. We're just replacing it with something else that's maybe a little easier, a little funner, a little less money, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And a lot still more responsibility.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the time when we're replacing, it's because we don't actually know what to do with that time anymore. And that's what I mean by like this really ingrained systematic thing that has been built in us over years. It's like, well, if I'm not doing anything, what am I doing with my life? Like everything is foreign to us, right? And so I think, we have to really be okay with being alone, especially as single Black women like myself. Be okay with sitting still with ourselves, and then recognizing, like, if you do have that time and you're like, this feels weird, to really recognize that, sit with that, talk to a therapist about that, right? To figure out what does it feel like to get to a place where I don't feel uncomfortable just not doing anything. Right. A lot of people don't know how to just sit and relax. And I'm not saying like sit and binge watch a whole bunch of Netflix. That's cool too. But I also think like just being alone, right? And really maybe even doing something that just brings you joy, like going outside and breathing in. Sometimes Netflix binges bring you joy. Again, I'm just saying, being alone, not being stimulated is something that is really, really restoring for us, our bodies, our minds, our spirits. And so I would suggest that, anyone who has felt that feeling before, where they've eliminated something or a season ended or a contract ended and they don't have that time filled with that anymore. And you feel like, okay, now I got to get another contract,
right?
Or I have to go.
I feel like there's a void.
Right. You're like, I have time to get a second job, but do you really need one?
You didn't have time to do the 2 jobs the first time, right?
Girl,
I think yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so something else came to mind, and it just completely slipped my mind. But there was a framework that I wanted to kind of share on maybe how also what you were saying about the importance of rest, right? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of times if you ask people like, oh, how have you been? Like somebody maybe you haven't seen in a while, right? People, oh, I'm so busy, right? And I in this same kind of time frame of my life started to like really actually hate that response from people, right? Because I was just like, who wants to just be busy all the time, right? Like, I don't want to be busy. I want to be productive. I want to be efficient. I want to be like, joyful, whatever these different things are. But they're different like ways of being that weren't just busy. And I almost, like I said, it kind of, even to this day, it kind of makes me cringe when people are just like, oh, so busy, so busy, so busy. Because I'm like, that's not, to me, busy is not fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for some people it is. Yeah. But I don't necessarily want to be busy. Like you said, right? Like I want to be relaxing, resting, chilling, restored on somebody's beach with all my stuff fulfilled, right?
Somebody's beach?
With all of my responsibilities fulfilled. But I don't necessarily want to be busy and stressed out to make that happen, right? That's kind of where, the mindset piece of it because if we're just, like you said, the society and the system that we live in will have you believe that if I'm in meetings back to back to back, I'm productive. But that doesn't necessarily, like, to me, being busy does not equate to being productive.
My fans is preaching today, and you got to say that again. I'm writing that down.
But all I said was being in meetings does not equate to being productive, right? And I just think that, like, we don't even wait to, I said this like the last time we had a conversation. We don't wait to hear, how somebody's doing. We don't wait to hear the response. We're just busy, busy, busy. That's not necessarily fulfilling, right? If it was fulfilling, then we wouldn't have the mental health conditions and the issues that we have in America today. Yeah. So just wanted to share that. But the kind of framework that I came up with to help me in determining what I'm carrying it's called Pack Light, right? So I listened to Auntie Erykah Badu, and my stress Jolene said in the comments earlier, she was like, what bags are you carrying, right? And that is totally 100% reference to Bag Lady, right? Like if we listen to some of these aunties, they've been telling us put these bags in, right? Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So in that song, she says pack light, basically. And I was, sitting with that one day and kind of just came up with a acronym for light. And it really kind of helps you to determine how to pack light, how to determine what you're carrying, how to move forward, how to change your mindset around what you choose to carry with you into these different stages of life or new goals or new accomplishments and things of that sort. The L really stands for love it or leave it, right? So if it's not a passion of mine in this day and age, like why is it here, right? I legitimately feel that way, right? If it's like, I am not extremely passionate about this, I do not care about this, then I shouldn't be spending 70% of my time doing that or with it, right? So real light, pack light, the L to me stands for love it or leave it, right? If I don't love it and I can't legitimately, authentically say I love it, right? If you don't tell me something and I get excited about it, I probably don't need to, let's not have another conversation about it, because why?
Doesn't spark joy.
It doesn't spark any joy.
I know.
And life is too short, right? Like life is too short to be doing things that you don't love, right? It's just the reality of the situation. And we're talking about in the context of, obviously we all have to do things that we don't love and things of that sort. Like there are mundane parts of life, right? However, we're talking about if I'm going to shift my mindset and I'm trying to go achieve something new, I'm trying to go do something new, I'm trying to go accomplish something new, why not have that be something that you actually love and you're passionate about? Because you're going to do it a little bit stronger and a little bit more with a little bit more aggression and energy than the person who's next to you who can leave it, right? Yeah, it's just as simple as that.
I hope you're taking notes. It's pack light.
Pack light.
acronym. The L is love it or leave it.
Yes.
Write it down. And then later.
The you could say this one of two ways: either illuminate your intentions or intentional inclusion. Right. So, be intentional about what you're choosing to take in your bag. Right. So I actually was just having a conversation with somebody, and they're doing this digital nomad lifestyle, and they're like, you know what, we're trying to get down to one suitcase per person, and one collective little situation for the toiletries kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about like, okay, I'm packing light, that's light for a lifestyle. I'm living out of a suitcase. That's how light you want to be, right? You are going to be extremely intentional about every single item that you put in that bag, right? Sure. If you are doing something that you love, and now I'm intentional about the actual things that I'm taking with me, or the items, the goals, whatever it is that I'm carrying with me. So the last, that one was intentional inclusion.
Real quick, I had a birthday party last month, and my best friend Roya came for it, which was like, put me on the moon. I was so excited to see her. And so she flew in from San Diego to here in Dallas, and she stayed with me. And so when I picked her up, she had a backpack. And I was like,
you're like, where's your bag, sis?
Like black, almost like a black tie. Like some people wore gowns, like full gowns to our party. And so I was like, and she was going to be there like for 3 days, at least 3, almost 4 days. And so I just had questions. And so she broke out when she got into my room. She put the backpack on my bed. And she was like, this is what I had to do to make sure that I didn't want to check a bag. I just was adamant. So she bought some kind of crazy backpack on Amazon the day before she left. And she literally, like this backpack, I've never seen anything like it. She literally was like, little pockets were places.
It was like her gadget.
Yes. And so she was like,
backpacks.
Listen, so all of her like skincare was like the samples, right? Like she didn't bring any of those like actual, refillable bottles or anything. There was no room for that. Oh, then she had like the flat samples. And then but the conversation is like exactly what you're saying that we were having. Cause she was like, no, I thought about this, but I said, I actually need this more. That's going to be more of something that I'll need. So I had to leave that at home. And and it was just so interesting to look at how she was like, it's Tetris. Like I had to fit everything in, but it was intentional. It was like the size of this has to fit in with this. And I think even with the way we pack, right? It's pack light, and it's like, how to go, I roll, right? Because I'll be trying to still stuff some stuff in there. I can't.
But it's as you're talking, to me, it's making the hard decisions, right? Exactly. You have to make the hard decisions, because at the end of the day, like, what's going to happen if she didn't break something that she wants? She might have to spend extra money, little extra time, little extra stress, because now she's trying to get ready and she's like, oh shoot, I don't have this, I don't have that, right? So like while you're right, why not make those tough decisions at the beginning? Yeah. Make those tough decisions at like, what do I need to leave?
Yeah.
And what do I need to take? Right? Hey, intentionally.
Another one. Listen, this is a word, fans. We don't have to have this transcribed. There is, she called me before she left and was like, do you have X, Y, and Z? Like, do you have a hair curler? Do you have hair products?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, girl, I got everything you need. Like,
it was like, good, I don't need it.
I have a whole Target upstairs. She was like, okay, good. These are the things I don't have to take. What would it look like to just believe that what we truly need is at the end of the thing after we've made the decisions to proactively eliminate things? You know what I mean? You made a good decision to take out things that you really don't need on the journey. They're gonna be at the end of when you accomplish that thing.
Do you know what the best deal of the year is? You can subscribe to our Betterness box for just $25, which is valued at more than $100 per season. All the brands that you get in this are super high quality. Like, we have skincare, we've got health, the cutest accessories, and more. Christmas doesn't have to just be once a year, because with your annual subscription, you literally get a Betterness box delivered to your doorstep every season. How else can you make this year the best year? Subscribe today.
That's the whole word too. Let's go on to letter G, because we could go on all day about that.
I was trying to, I meant to tell you earlier that, each of these is its own segment, but we ain't had time for all of that.
No.
I was like, we're gonna give the people a snippet today. The second one, or the third one, the G. Once again, we're talking about packing light, how you determine what you're carrying into your next phase of life, into your next goals, as you're looking to achieve your next milestones in life. The acronym Pack Light, we are on the G here. And the G is grace, not guilt, right? So we guilt ourselves. I made a wrong decision. I forgot the toothbrush. I forgot the sponge. I forgot the whatever, right? That clouds your space. Kayla talked about earlier about being present, right? Like, I can't be present and be clouded as well, because I'm up here. I got too many things I'm concerned about. They don't go together, right? So if you just, appreciate that, like, in new things, when I'm trying to achieve something new, yes, I might have it's driven by my passion. I'm extremely intentional about what I'm trying to do, but you have to also understand that, like, everything's not going to go right, and you have to give yourself grace in those moments, or the people around you, right? Like, Roya asked, I don't know if you said her name, sorry, but Roya asked Kayla, do you have this, that, and the other? Kayla might have been busy at work, because this is how Kayla is. She'd be like, yeah, I got that upstairs. Didn't even go check. And then Roya gets here, and she's like, Kayla, I thought I asked you if you had this, that, and the other. And Kayla goes up and looks in there, and it was the last drop 2 weeks ago, right? So, like, but you have to kind of operate with the mindset of, like,
right,
you know what? I'm going to give Kayla grace, because I know that she has her own things going on. She's busy. She might have been a resource. She might have been a lifeline for me. But, she can't, she fell short. Or I fell short in, whatever decision I was making. It just didn't go as planned, right? Things don't always go as planned. That's why they have travel insurance.
And you don't
get it. It's like $7.
Right. Yeah. She didn't get travel insurance. But you don't always need everything you think you need. How about that? Right?
Right. You packed the stuff you don't need.
I don't have it, but I can use this instead. Or I can wear this instead. You might have more than you even thought you needed, right? And I think that's what we often find when we start to minimalize and eliminate proactively. We start to realize, like, I actually have everything I need. I don't need to carry whatever it is. I mean, it could be literal, or it could be like the things that are kind of in our minds, right? I need to have X, Y, and Z before I can get to this place. I need to have the degree. I need to have this experience. I need to have testimonials for whatever that is, instead of just launching the thing or doing the thing, or again, saying, I have what I need. I don't need all of that to get to where I'm going. I think that's huge. Again, just consumption in the way that our society is will have you out here thinking you need all the things. And a lot of what you need is within you, and a lot of what you need you already have. In fact, I can guarantee you everything you need you already have, right? For whatever you are purposed for. And so if you feel as though you are looking for things that you don't have, and you're like, well, I'm not equipped, that might not even be the thing you're supposed to be doing, because you actually have everything you need right now today to complete the thing that you are destined and purposed to do. And so the way, we look at everybody else and say, well, sounds like I need this course, or sounds like I need this to do that thing. You probably don't even need those things, because you just added them based on what somebody else had done. So again, you're right, girl. This is a whole nother section. But grace in general is so freeing for Black women. If we really understood that concept and exercised it, I could totally see us and achieve so much more, and in a way that doesn't even feel like a burden, right? That it's so much less guilt for us if we would just embrace grace. So grace, not guilt. Pack light was love it or leave it. Intentional inclusion for I, or illuminate your intentions. And then G was grace, not guilt. 2 more letters.
Yes, I think that actually segues perfectly into the next one, right? So the next one is heaviness hurts, right? So if I pack too much in my bag and I'm carrying, I don't understand how people carry those duffel bags when they travel. because it hurts my shoulder, right? So especially if it's overpacked, right? It's too much. So heaviness hurts, right? So like if you're thinking about what you're packing, you're thinking about where you're going, you're thinking about your goals, you're thinking about what you want to accomplish, and stuff is feeling heavy, it's feeling stressful, it's feeling anxious, it's feeling all the things. It probably doesn't, it's probably, as Kayla was just saying, something that you might not even actually need to look to achieve, right? So that one is, it's kind of direct and to the point. If it's heavy, it likely is something that you need to reconsider whether or not you actually need to bring it along.
Yep.
Woo! If it hurts, why are you carrying it? Come on! You know what? My sense is on it today. I don't know who told you about my life, but you just needed to, I guess, speak into me today. If it hurts, why are you carrying it? Sans, I want to tell you something. So remember when I told you I had this gather book in 2021? I have been looking, I created this framework of Packlight, like literally in 2021, like 2 years, however many years. Wow. And it was just like where my mind was at that time, right? But when I looked back through Gather, it was written on a random page in Gather. And I was like,
I love it.
What? In my head, I'm like, I know that I have this written down somewhere, like it's how I operate, whatever, but I couldn't put all the pieces together again. And I found it when we opened Gather again, and I was like, a blessing.
If you resonate with what we're saying, y'all, this is it right here. Make sure to get the We Are Restored book, our box, because this book comes in there. This, if you are resonating with any of the things we're talking about, like this right here, look, it's small. Yes, you got to get this book, and we're almost done with this season, but you can still get the box. We got about
I think there's about 9 or 10 boxes left.
Right.
Yeah. So the last one, I have it as 2 different ones. So like thoughtfulness is trending, right? So be extremely thoughtful about the entire process. And I think checking in with your intentions, checking in with how you're feeling about things, that's something that should continue throughout a process, right? I shouldn't just be like, well, I want to do this and then never reconsider whether or not it's the right thing for me along the path, right? Especially if I'm operating these 2 to 4 year periods of time. You want to leave time and room for adjustments and pivoting and growth and all the different things that come with the fact that, like, hey, maybe I've been working towards this for 6 months to a year and I have no information, right? There's no information. The energy's changed, whatever. My situation has changed. You want to leave opportunity for tuning into you, right? And being extremely thoughtful about, is this something I still desire? Is this somewhere I still want to go? And that leaves room for just continuing to pivot and making sure that, like, okay, what I packed and what I had with me was, a light 6 months ago, but now there's these new things that I need to consider, right? So leaving room for kind of reevaluation of what's in that bag.
I like to say, leave room for God to be God, okay? Because we can make all the plans, right, and do all the things and move in that direction. But honestly, the more we eliminate from our life, the excess thoughts, the excess energy from other people, the excess baggage, we can actually hear from God even better. So not only have you created more room for God, you're literally allowing him to leave room for him to even work more in your life. Like if you packed it tight with all the things, he's like, where, I can't even, where can I can't even fit. Right. I'm trying to, you over here, I'm trying to like 10x your income or 10x your experiences in your relationship or whatever that looks like. But I can't even get in. I can't even fit in where that looks like.
Wow. That is the Packlight, the Packlight mindset framework. Straight from the kind of this cute ass goal. I appreciate it. Listen, we can have a whole jam session. I think the last little piece of this is actually it's much like I said, we got into some of the heavy stuff in the, where are we going? How are we getting there? What are we taking with us? Mm-hmm. The last piece of this is really who's coming with you, right? Yep. So if you had a notepad and you were doing some work and you used this as a working session 50 minutes ago when Kayla and I hopped on here, you right now, whoever you're looking at the mirror at, you're not the same person you were 50 minutes ago, right? Like, it's just a reality of the same. This is a reality of the situation. You're just not the same person. And I think that we don't look at ourselves as like evolving and changing and whatever, right? Like, if you knew me 3 years ago, you might not know Denise today, right? If you knew me 3 minutes ago, you might not know me, right? Just depending on like how you're moving, what you're evaluating, what you're carrying with you on each day, right? Like, that actually changes the composition of who you are, how you operate, how you act, and how you move through the world. So the last piece is really about like who's coming with you, and that includes like which person, right? Which you are you bringing with you? Because we're all multifaceted. And who is your kind of like accountability partners, your support network? Whether that be like Kayla just mentioned, like, is there room for God in the bag? Is there room for Kayla in the bag? Is there room for your business partners, your family, whoever, right? Who is coming with you on that journey? Because that's extremely, extremely important, because like, if you don't have the right people with you, and if you are not the right you for the job, what's going to happen, right? You're going to be giving yourself, you'll have to give yourself a lot more grace, right? Because you're not showing up in the way that you need to actually achieve what you're trying to achieve. So that last piece of who's coming with you is kind of like really all about accountability to yourself, to make sure that you're bringing along the right people, including the right Denise, right? Am I bringing along the right Denise into this journey to actually achieve what I'm trying to achieve?
Yep. Auntie Tab had a video this week, and it was so on time, because she talked about, you know, how she is like, she's literally talking to you as your auntie. And she's just like, you're not doing what you need to do to go to the places that you said you wanted to go. Your actions aren't showing that. And, you know, this is some tough love, but what's up? Like, where is it that you are spending your time instead of where it is that you need to be, whether that's working on doing less, doing different things, right? I honestly think we can always be doing less because of the society we live in. But redirecting our energy in that way. Highly recommend that you all listen to her tab talk, I guess. I don't know what she calls them, but she's amazing. And you know, she lovingly gathers you, okay? Same as Octavia. Octavia, I feel like she was a little fire up under there, but Auntie Tab, she'll gather you with a little, you know, she'll give you a little extra love. Right, extra love. But no, I completely agree. It's one of the reasons why this community and this society of Betterness bays, right, is so important to me, to you, to each of our subscribers. It's why we feel as though we are a part of the cool club, right? The cool kids club. A society of women who are like-minded, a society of women who have decided, okay, we're going to do things differently than the generation before us and the generation before them. And so it's super important. It's super important. And unfortunately, sometimes that genuine, raw, vulnerable, relatable content is not always given. And that's what this new season of Betterness Box is all about, right? Us being extremely vulnerable with each other, us as founders being vulnerable, but then of course with each other as a Betterness community. And so that accountability is just built in. The automated self-care that is the product Betterness Box is literally built into what it looks like to do less, to take care of yourself, to take a pause, to make decisions around all the aspects of your life, from your money to your mind to your spirit to your body. And so, of course, I'm biased because I'm the creator of Betterness Box, but I think that accountability is unmatched. Like, there is not another place on the planet that I feel like has that much of a well-rounded accountability system that is presented in such a relatable, vulnerable way. And so I'm super excited about this upcoming season and everything we've talked about here, because you absolutely need this. The new you that Denise just described, right? You're not the same you were before you saw this. That new you is needed to now take you into this new season. Denise, what is the new season? I don't even know.
Sorry, you don't. So if, as Kayla was mentioning, I like this comment here, because you talked about that a lot from like just your own individual like Auntie Tab basically saying, you know, like, are you actually showing up in the way that you need to show up to achieve your goals? But my special Jolene here also says, when you grow, not everyone gets an invitation to the journey, right? And so it's not necessarily for everybody, right? Like, my journey might not be your journey, and you might just be like, look, we could still be friends, but like, I don't need to necessarily talk to you about this area of my life or whatever, right? Because I'm going over here, and if you're not of the mindset that I'm of the mindset of, then you actually might be deterring my progress towards my goal and things of that sort, right? So we see that happen often as well. So that accountability to yourself in determining who's coming is extremely important on multiple different levels.
What you said, eliminating responsibilities. A relationship is a responsibility. It could be one of the eliminating.
You just came for him, because I was going to say, I was talking about things, not people, but you...
Listen, I truly believe that
you're right.
You connected to people. That's your responsibility. Why are you connected to people that you're not responsible for, right? And they should be responsible for you, right? Their protection, love, care, compassion, all of those things should be reciprocal. If that ain't happening again, if it hurts, why are you caring? Like,
right.
It literally, you can use a relationship and go through the pack light framework.
So the pack light framework, when I was thinking about it, we're using it in the context right now of obviously like preparing mentally for our next season, which is we are wealthy, which means, you know, understanding where your relationship from money comes from, understanding your relationship to money, right? Like being honest about that, understanding what you want to accomplish in the next 2 to 4 years, just small kind of, you know, periods of time and things of that sort. Understanding different ways that people are generating wealth nowadays. So multiple different ways, right? Of bringing that all to life. But I do strongly believe that the pack light could be applied to your daily life, right? Just daily, what I got to do today. I'm a pack light, and I can go through. Look, I only need 3 things that I love that I'm absolutely doing today. Whatever you want, you know, our small time frame all the way up to large time frame, and it could be a relationship. It could be a, you know, am I divorcing this person? Whatever. I ain't prescribe it to any scenario. I just, you know, determine the steps. But it can. I honestly think it could be applied to multiple different things.
Sure.
I just wanted to also kind of like add to what you were talking about in terms of like community and accountability. I don't know if people have recognized, but we kind of shift our box theme names to go with the general mindset. And so right now, our themes all start with we are, meaning we have a very community collective. We always have had a very community minded kind of like mindset in terms of like, where do we want to see our community of Black women go, right? We are rested, we are restored, we are wealthy. These are things that we hope for Black women in our community more broad, our community kind of specifically, as well as our community more broadly. And so just like to kind of share that so that people understand our mindset around the themes of the boxes is also extremely intentional. And it's really a declaration of we are this, and then it's a toolkit to determine, oh, these are different things that I can be looking at. These are different resources that I can be considering. You're not going to just receive the box and all of a sudden there's not lotto tickets in this, right? There's not a lotto ticket in the box. It's not a golden ticket, Willy Wonka style. That is not what we're doing here, right? But it will give you the tools and the resources that you need to start to consider what it means for you to be wealthy and how you relate to money and things of that sort. Yep. So that's a long-winded answer to what this next season is, but I kind of thought it all kind of came together at the end there with what you were saying as well.
Yep. We are wealthy coming up. We started with the Let's season, then we went to the I Am season, series, I should say, and then we are now in the We Are. So yeah, it's really dope to see that come to fruition and to see where we are now. You guys want to know what the book is? Let me see some hearts if you guys want to know what the book that's coming in the box is. I'm not going to say it unless I see some hearts. So I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait. And I don't know what happened, but I didn't see any Jolene's comments. Any of Jolene's comments. Oh, yes.
Oh,
all right, I see some hearts.
Heart loud. Oh,
It's just been
We have a hey from Toronto. Destiny's chiming in from Toronto.
Oh, look at the hearts. Okay.
And we got some hearts. People want to see what the book is going to be for the next season.
The next box, the book that's in the next box, We Are Wealthy, is called We Should All Be Millionaires, written by a Black woman from New York. I think Brooklyn. I think she's Brooklyn or the Bronx. One of the B's. And
those are way different, way far from each other.
I know. Listen, I did the best I could. Rachel Rogers, and she gets down to talking about real life stuff, y'all. When I tell you this book is going to change your life, including the box, because the box is literally in conjunction with every single thing, just like every box. But you will have the tools for sure to change your mindset, to enhance your mindset. I've always thought I was money minded, right? Like I own multiple houses. I'm over here trying to do the best I can with what I have in life. But this is on another level. But so for me to say that, right, who quote unquote has achieved a little bit of something, thank you, Jesus. What? Like when I say you all need this box, go to betternessbox.com. If you're like, you know what, I've never gotten a Betterness box, but if there was ever one, this is the one you need to get. Betternessbox.com. Click Get Betterness Box, and then you'll be sent to We Are Wealthy. And it's going to be amazing. What Rachel talks about, just as a sneak peek on one of the topics, is really broke ass thoughts, right? Those broke ass thoughts that were planted in our mothers' minds, our mothers' minds, from, again, white supremacy, systematic racism, society, a viewpoint of lack and poverty, right? All of those things contribute to broke ass thoughts. And that's basically another way of saying limiting beliefs. And so she starts there, and she literally gives a blueprint on what it means to change that and tangible ways to actually generate wealth and for Black women specifically. That's very rare, right? And she uses her narrative to do that. And I just I love the book. I love Rachel Rogers. I think she's a great coach and personality for this box. And so I'm so excited. Our programming, our Wellness Wednesdays, they're going to be lit. So once you get your box or go order your box, send it to a couple people because, recession or not, our mindset needs to be what it is. People make hundreds of thousands of dollars in recessions, right? And so it's just about your mindset, using what you have to get to where you're going. And nothing can stop you from getting what it's yours except for you. So that's what we need to realize, right? We need to realize that. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about this because I could go on. And we have a whole season where we're going to be talking about We Are Wealthy. I love the hearts. That makes me feel amazing because you all are excited too. But yes, spread the word. Use code We Are Wealthy to get this box. Buy your sister, your cousin, your teenage daughter, whoever it is, this box so that they can absolutely get ready for this season that's coming. And those ship out next week.
Yeah, towards the end. So we have abundant blessings is my prayer for you. And I will just extend that to the community in the chat section here. And then I will also say, listen, if you're still at the beginning of this conversation, right? Kayla and I have progressed this conversation very quickly in an hour, right? In terms of like just our mindset as a community. If you were listening, taking notes, things of that sort, and you're like, whoo, that was a whole lot. I'm not ready. We do have, like I think 9 or 10 We Are Restored boxes. And that is a perfectly fine place. If you are new to Betterness Box, that is a perfectly fine place to start your journey as well. There are a handful of those We Are Restored boxes left. And you can get that on the website as well. But once those are gone, they are gone. And Kayla and Denise, we will be in the summer talking about We Are Radiant. We will not be talking about, we're going back to, we will be on to the next kind of thing. So yes, we stay in a season for 3 months. We like to be realistic in terms of the fact that like like we said, things take time, right? So let it sit for a little bit, but 100% understand that there are pass boxes available. If you're like, wealthy seems like a jump, I'm new to Betterness box, there, you can go on the website and definitely find something that fits right for you. Or if you know somebody who's going through a season that's like, you know what, this person could use a little bit of extra sleep, a little bit of rest. This person's having a tough time. We understand that people in our community are all over the spectrum of kind of where you are right now. Kayla is rubbing this centered aromatherapy sleep aid all over her body. So I'm sure that she will be asleep by 8:30 p.m. Central. And it is 8:07 out now, so I'm giving her precisely 22 minutes to
I'm in about 22 minutes shower cube. That'll help as well. Use my face salve as well.
All right. I mean, I think that's what we had for the people today. So I think this replay will be saved. Somebody says, Black Girl Joy says, I need that aroma sleep aid stick. It's in the We Are Restored box, 100%. And this is what I'm saying, right? If I'm like, look, I need to catch up on sleep. Y'all talking about getting money. I need to go to sleep first before I go get money. The We Are Restored box is for you, boo. Because that's where we are.
It really is. It's definitely been one of our favorites, our fan favorites as well. Our subscribers are loving it. Because again, we all need rest in whatever season we're in.
100%.
All right.
All right, serious. I think we are. Yes. I think we are good. Like, this will be on replay. Tag a friend, share it with a friend, whatever you need to do. But yes, we went through just life planning, mindset shift, context, and some frameworks that you can use today. So this is one that I'll probably listen to on replay. I tend to listen to our IG lives on replay again within the next 24 hours to, I'm a customer as well. I gotta, I can't just be helping y'all out. I gotta help myself sometimes. So, I like to listen to it, play it back a little bit sometimes.
This one was really,
and just understand exactly what was going on. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're here, all the things don't come to you right when you're actually in the midst of having the conversation and kind of spreading and sharing the information. So, I like to play it back for myself every once in a while as well. So.
Right.
Well, cool. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody who joined us this evening. We are transitioning from We Are Restored into our We Are Wealthy season, and the content will start to change. You'll start to see a little shift in our energy, but that's because, let's get the bag. Let's get to the bag. Why not? Right?
Listen. Restored and ready for money. Restored and ready for revenue. Restored and ready. Okay, be ready.
It's not even that, right? It's also wealthy relationships, right? Are your relationships fruitful? Are your interactions in life fruitful? Are your daily activities fruitful, right? So wealth comes in multiple different ways, and I think we can be all considering it from. Yes, we are also talking about the financial independence and financial resiliency piece of the puzzle, but it can play out in multiple different ways for each person. So, are you
letting go?
Is that Auntie Erica?
Letting go, she said. Come on. You don't need it.
Well, I'm telling you, it makes the song has so much more meaning now, right?
It has a lot.
I mean, it was already a very, very meaningful battle, but all right, I gotta go.
We both need to go. We're so over time, but this is amazing. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Go listen to Pack Light. Let's get into your spirit and your heart, and we will see you next time on Wellness Wednesday.
If that's not on the playlist, I'm gonna go ahead and add it to the playlist if it's not on.
Okay, girl. Needs to be song number 1.
Right. All right, you guys, take care.
Bye.
Hey sis, we thank you for honoring yourself by taking the time to listen to the Good, Better, Betterness podcast. Thank you for joining us on the journey to betterness.